Should Lord Freud resign from his post as Welfare Reform Minister following his comments about the disabled?
But if you look at the context, and this is a man who is passionate about getting disabled people into work. He worked for the last Labour government on that, and then he worked for this government. What he was actually doing was drawing attention to a scandal, which is that for the most severely mentally disabled people, only 1 in 10 of them get a job. And the vast majority of them would like to work, but unfortunately employers won't offer the jobs. And he foolishly allowed himself to get drawn into a scenario which they do in some other European countries, where you reduce the minimum wage and the state tops it up. That would be the wrong thing to do. It would send completely the wrong signal to do that. But I do think it was thoughtless words rather than offensive views, and I know it won't be popular, but I do think he should be given a second chance.
Okay. Yeah. I agree with Jeremy on that.
Go on then.
I think it was clearly a very clumsy choice of words, and those words have caused offence. But if you look carefully at the context that he was talking in and the exact question that he was answering from a councillor, what he was actually, the spirit of what he was trying to say is, how can we enable more disabled people to get into work? So
we were looking at some of the things that have been said about this, and the charity MenCap, disability charity for people with mental ill health, back in 2000 actually drew attention to the difficulties of the national minimum wage and asked the government to have a look and see if they could find a way around the problem, which suggests that...
Yes.
Does that suggest to you, Angela Eagle, that what Lord Freud said was actually what MenCap said?
They're not saying that now, and actually I do think he should resign. I think what he said was offensive. I think it's caused a great deal of offence to disabled people. There are 50% of people with disabilities who aren't in work at the moment. The answer to that isn't to somehow weaken the minimum wage and make them work for less than the minimum wage, which, by the way, is a legal minimum. It's actually to go out and evangelise to employers about the benefits of employing people with disabilities. He didn't talk about doing that. He talked about actually putting their wages down to £2 an hour.
And topping them up from the state.
Now, he
Hang on, let's get this clear. And topping them up.
He is the minister responsible for this policy, and he should, I think it's very revealing of this government's approach to things, that they think the pressure should always be on people's wages.
No, but Angela, that's absolute rubbish. He was not talking about simply paying somebody £2. What he was suggesting...
Said go away and think about
What he was suggesting was that some people might be willing to work for less if their wage was topped up by some kind of government scheme. I don't think that's that outlandish. And more, I think it's actually happened. I'm not completely sure of my facts here, but I think there have been pilot schemes in Wales on this.
OK. You were saying in the front row there. And then I come to you. Yes. No, in the second row, yes.
I just wanted to make a quick point, because if an MP had to resign every time he made a clumsy comment, there wouldn't be any MPs left in Parliament. So.
And the man in the dark blue shirt behind.
Angela Eagle's comments, I think she's been extremely disingenuous. I think we all know exactly what he meant, even though he said it clumsily.
Well, you're trying very
And I think by the smirk on her face as she was saying it, she realises that too.
Yeah.
Do we? Yes. Do we actually think that the person responsible for welfare reform should have those views about people with disabilities?
He was trying to help.
Nobody believes.
Because personally, I don't.
Nobody believes they are his views. He's just clumsy in the way he announced it.
Government, and he should resign.
What do you believe his views to be? Hang on, listen to the member of the public speaking there. I'll go to the gentleman.
I think he was making a general statement rather than announcing his own opinion. It was a statement, really, that disabled people generally find it difficult to be able to earn that level of money. It wasn't an opinion so much, it was a statement of...
So why don't we actually go out and try to persuade employers of the many benefits of employing people with disabilities? Why don't we do something about discrimination against people with disabilities in the workplace? Why do we always have to say people with disabilities have to work for less than the minimum wage.
But that's not what was being said. That's not what's being said.
You, sir, with the beard there.
The gentleman who asked the question was interviewed on local television. He has a daughter who is sibling, a child who is disabled, and the person who asked the question was concerned that his sibling could not, his child could not actually do the minimum wage's worth of work for the employer, and he was asking, is there a way that the government can subsidise the employment of this person? And the minister agreed he would go away and look at it.
All right.
And what you're doing is hypocritical political point scoring, and it's disgusting.
We have only about 15 seconds left for you.
I just wanted to see whether you would use that as a political football, and you have done. Thanks, Angela.